it's complicated, and it's hard to live a life that you were taught is so wrong and against God's standards, and yet still have those feelings if you were born always having those feelings.
Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato.
I'm Greg Dybec.
For anyone out there that would like to be a guest on our show, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our email is oplpodcast@gmail.com.
Today, we're speaking to a man who is struggling between his sexuality and his religion. He sent us an email, and the subject line reads, "Living like I'm closeted, even though I'm technically out." So we've got the guest on the line, and thank you so much for being on today.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. So can you just talk a little bit about your faith and the religion that you practice?
So I grew up and was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I was baptized as a member probably 15, 20 years ago. And I just grew up in a very happy family. I have a really good family who's always been kind and loving with me. We've always got along. Really no problems within the family. We always seem to connect and really just have a good life. I don't ever remember looking back on my life where my childhood was ever unhappy.
Interesting. So, and can we, like, when did you start to feel like you had this struggle, I guess, in your life?
Probably, interestingly, I've always had those feelings ever since I remember. So ever since far back when I was 5, 6 years old, I had those feelings.
Of being attracted to men?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And so being baptized as a member, and I don't know much about Jehovah's Witnesses, but have you always practiced your faith? I'm assuming like your family as members of this congregation have always taken that very seriously.
Oh, yes. I've practiced it and my family's practiced it. And we take it very seriously. I do too. I love my faith, everything about it. It's a beautiful faith, and we have beautiful, rich lives with it. And it's a good religion. It's a good faith to be brought up in. A lot of happiness, a lot of positive messages in it. So yeah, we've always been practicing members.
Have you ever had a conversation with any of your family members or anybody about, you were struggling with, being attracted to men?
Yes. They know about it. And I've spoken with them about it. My sister, my mother, my father, everyone knows in my family, and they understood the struggle that I was going through. So they do have that knowledge that I am attracted to men, yes.
But in your faith, what is the ideology around homosexuality?
So the process is we kind of always try to use this illustration when it comes to that. You can let a bird land on your head, but you shouldn't allow it or let it build a nest. So when it comes to thoughts of homosexuality, the thought is fine, but dwelling on it and acting on it is wrong.
Is that something that you subscribe to? Like, you believe that to be true as well?
So it's hard to say because I'm being torn between how I was brought up and the respect for what the Bible says, and then my own personal feelings. when it comes to my own sexuality, because it's more than just a feeling. It's almost a part of you. Feelings are fleeting, but attraction, it's ingrained. It's part of who you are.
And have you ever personally acted on those feelings? Have you been with a man sexually?
I have, yes.
When did you decide to do that? And I guess, can you sort of describe like how you felt after that? Was it sort of like regret, or it kind of just validated you in a way of being like, yes, this is kind of who I am?
It was kind of both. Because of how I was brought up, and also, how I was taught what the Bible says about it. It's kind of like almost half and half of regret, but also a validation for those feelings as well.
Okay.
Because at the time, when I was with this person, I hadn't felt that level of intimacy or closeness with anyone before. And it just kind of reinforced how I had always felt.
Had you tried to date women before?
I have no attraction to women at all.
So it's interesting because, for you having these feelings, you're finally intimate with someone. And, there's so many instances in life like that, where when you get to validate your own feelings, that's so important, as just a part of becoming who you are. Right. It's sort of that magical moment, but then at the same time, can you talk about, I guess, the guilt in relation to your faith? Because while on one hand, you're validating these feelings, you're experiencing something beautiful with another person, but are you technically sinning in the eyes of God? Are you now going against your faith?
Yes. Once you act on those feelings, yes, you are. And it's more than just regret that, I did what I did. It's also of hurting those around you and God as well. You're hurting God firstly, and then I'm hurting my family after that.
Did you end up telling your family?
No, I haven't.
So they have no idea that you've done. And also, is this something that you actively do, like, hook up with men, or do you did it one time and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore?
No, it's not an active thing. No.
Is there an urge and a desire to do it again?
Oh, yes. I mean, ideally.
Yeah. And I guess that's sort of where we're meeting you today, where it's this now, it feels like this true split down the middle struggle. But I'm curious, so you didn't tell your parents, you didn't tell any members of the congregation. Would you ever? And if you did, what do you think the reaction would be?
It would be better if they heard it from me than from someone else. Let's just put it that way. If it was to come out, I would rather it come from me. And the reaction would be a lot of disappointment and hurt from my family. But also, if I was to tell them, they would tell the elders in the congregation, and then there would be a sort of meeting to happen with me.
Have they said that before? Like when you were describing to them, like, oh, I've had homosexual thoughts, they were like, it's okay, but don't act on them. If you act on them, then we're going to like tell everyone and you'll sort of be like shunned in a way.
Yeah. But it's not, and let me just point this out when I say this. It wouldn't be done out of hate that they would say something or repulsion. It would be out of genuine concern why they would reach out and speak with the elders, because they want me to be helped.
Before we get back to the episode, we want to tell you about a couple of sponsors. The first sponsor is Alpha Progression. Alpha Progression is the go-to app for anyone that's training to maximize muscle strength and growth. Alpha Progression is science-backed and developed by serious lifters with bodybuilding competition backgrounds. Alpha Progression has also been recognized by Apple not once but twice as the app of the day. They are by far the top-rated fitness app in Germany, and they've recently started expanding to users worldwide. So people all over are now discovering Alpha Progression, and they're loving the results that they are getting. The great thing is that it's packed with features, so it's not just for experienced lifters. This is for novices. Anyone at any weight training skill level has a lot that they can gain by using Alpha Progression. The app goes beyond just creating a personalized and custom workout, but it also empowers you to track your progress and actually achieve your fitness goals. It has an extensive exercise database, and it provides the guidance that you need to embark on an effective muscle building journey. I love Alpha Progression because it really is focusing on the muscle gain and growth of weight training. So if that is your goal and that is something that you're looking to achieve, then this is the fitness app for you. Strength training is all about progression, and Alpha Progression's algorithm analyzes past performances and recommends weights and reps in every single set, and this is what guarantees long-term success. It's like having a personal trainer there with you, guiding you along, progressing your workout along the way so that you can actually achieve the results that you want. The Pro version is only $12.99 per month or $79.99 per year, and you get a 2-week free trial. But we have a special deal for Other People's Lives listeners. You can go to alphaprogression.com/OPL and get 20% off your first payment. That's Alpha Progression, ALPHA, progression.com/OPL, and you will get 20% off that first payment. What are you waiting for? If you're looking for a strength training partner, then look no further than Alpha Progression and head to alphaprogression.com/OPL to get started right now. Our next sponsor is Skims. Honestly, when Skims launched, pretty sure that they just made products for women. My wife always bought stuff from them. I was a little bit jealous. I know that sounds strange, but I could just tell the comfort level of the things that she was getting from Skims. And now Skims is making underwear for men. When I found that out, that they were a sponsor of the show, I was very excited. Personally, up until Skims, I would say that I was wearing the same type of underwear. I'm not going to name names here, but I was wearing the same type for years and years. I had not changed. I wasn't super happy, honestly. It's like I wanted to change, but I didn't know where to get that change. Now, since getting Skims and wearing Skims, that is the change that I was looking for. And now I exclusively wear Skims for my underwear. For me, I think the fabric and fit, it just feels like it's on another level. For me, it feels like it gives me the perfect comfort that I need throughout the day. They also have different fits and styles. So I have one specifically that I kind of wear as my everyday underwear, and then another that I wear for my workouts. That's a whole nother story of finding the perfect underwear for working out, running, and things like that. So Skims checks both of those boxes for me. I wear the cotton 5-inch boxer brief. That's kind of the everyday one. And then the stretch 5-inch boxer brief has become my go-to workout underwear. So those two, that is all I need for the rest of my life. Skims is worth the hype, I'm telling you. So if you're a man looking to switch up your underwear game, give it a try. If you're someone who needs to gift a man in your life some underwear that he'll like, this is also a good opportunity. So you can shop Skims Men's at skims.com or at Skims stores and let them know that we sent you. So if you place that order online, select podcast in the survey and then select our show, Other People's Lives, in the drop-down menu that follows. That's how they'll know that you heard it from us. So that is skims.com, select podcast in the survey, and then select Other People's Lives in that drop-down menu that follows. Now back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And what are, like, you can even get it a little into the weeds with the religion because we're not familiar. If the elders found out, would there be, you said there'd be a meeting. Is there a chance of you being excommunicated or not a member anymore? Is there a belief that this can be like healed, that it's a problem within you? And like, would they try to have you converted? Like what steps do you think they would actually take?
So the meetings that happen are not to bash a person. Whenever these meetings happen, they're not to bash the person. They're not to put them out. They're not to get them in trouble. They're not to chastise them. It's meant to restore them to a spiritual health. And so that's what the point of the meeting would be, was to see how it happened, why it happened, what were the leading causes that motivated me to do so. And am I willing to change? Am I willing to try and not repeat that act again? And if it's determined that I show a repentant attitude, then more than likely I will be able to stay in the congregation and be an active member. If there's a chance that they find that I'm not sorry about it and I'll continue doing it, then there might be another meeting that happens afterward to further discuss things, or I would be put out of the congregation.
Do you believe it's something that someone could heal within you?
So we do not practice, I forget exactly what they call it, conversion camps. We don't
Conversion
have
therapy,
those.
yeah.
No, we don't practice that because we don't necessarily believe in the effectiveness of that. We just, when it comes to that, it's just an ongoing process that you have to work on yourself. And
Do you feel you're spiritually unhealthy because of your actions?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. So, wow. Do you regret doing what you did?
There's a fine line there. Yes and no.
Was this recent also?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you mind telling us how recent? Could be a range, but if you're
probably a week ago.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okay. So this is a very real time struggle for you.
But the feelings, I mean, have lasted for years.
Yeah.
And this person, how long did you know them? And I'm assuming they're not a Jehovah's Witness.
No, they're not. No. And I've had problems with, I wouldn't say problems, but I had another guy I was interested in a couple years ago. And I had gotten some meetings with the elders regarding that person a couple years ago.
Just because it was found out that you had feelings for them?
No, it went more than that. It became physical with that person.
Oh, so this has happened more than once.
Yes, and it's just recent that it happened again. I mean, it was, and there was a good dry period for quite a while. And just recently, and this is a person that I thought it could be more with.
Do you think it will happen again in the future?
I don't know.
I'm
being honest.
Is there a part of you that feels like there's a chance that you eventually get to the point where you're like, I can't really fight this anymore, and I'd rather, I guess the question I'm asking, would you choose to just live as a gay man, and just sort of accept the consequences of whatever that is? Like if they don't want you to be don't want you to be a Jehovah's Witness or something like that, if you're like, all right, but I'd rather choose, being able to be a gay man and, just have a relationship whenever I want.
I see what you're asking. So I'm going to answer that two parts.
Sure.
The first part about, and I'm not going to bash my faith, because I love it very much. It's built a lot about, a lot of who I was, who I am. It's made me the person I am. It's shaped my whole views on life, my feelings about things. So if I was put out of the congregation, it wouldn't be because they didn't want me there. It would be because I chose not to abide by the rules and standards that are set. Mm-hmm. It would be of my own undoing. And then the second part about leaving and living as a gay man, that would be a hard thing for me to do, because I hold on to so many values of my faith now. And it would be hard to live like a gay man having the same values if I were to stay.
Okay. Because I was going to ask, is there a world where you can still have faith that's more on your own terms, even if you're not abiding by the exact rules?
I would be a hypocrite, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In my eye.
Yeah. And I mean, and we can understand, it's, I think probably easy for a lot of people listening to just say, these rules are wrong, or they're outdated, or just, the construct of religions has this wrong, or it's not fair, but also can understand that this is how you were raised, and there's so many values that this religion and the congregation has given you. So it's obviously not so easy to just turn away from what has built you as a person and what you still believe in. It is just very hard to imagine that internal struggle where this thing that you want to continue to be a part of and have so much respect and love for is essentially telling you that the way that you feel or acting on the way you feel is wrong, is breaking the rules.
Yeah. And when there are rules or standards, we always try to back them up with the scriptures. So that it's just not saying you made this rule. We try to set it by biblical standard before anything is brought up. Mm-hmm. And so, it's complicated, and it's hard to live a life that you are taught is so wrong and against God's standards, and yet still have those feelings if you were born always having those feelings.
Before we wrap up this interview, we do have a couple more sponsors. Here's a little secret about me. I do not always trust the tap water that I'm drinking. The thing is, having safe and clean water to drink is the last thing that you want to worry about. But unfortunately, it is something that we have to worry about. There has been extensive research by the Environmental Working Group that shows that 3 out of 4 homes in America have harmful contaminants in its tap water. I don't know about you, but I hear a statistic like that and it terrifies me. For myself, for my family, you do not want to be worrying that the water that you are drinking every day in your home is potentially contaminated. I have a child. I have a second child on the way. I just want them to be healthy growing up throughout their lives. So tap water is the last thing that I want to worry about. This is why I'm here to tell you about AquaTrue. AquaTrue purifies using a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, and their countertop purifiers work with no installation or plumbing, and those remove 15 times more contaminants than the ordinary pitcher filters, that you use, 15 times more. They have water purifiers, no matter your situation at home. They have countertop ones that are installation free. They also have higher capacity under the sink options that you can do. They even have a Wi-Fi connected purifier and mineral boost option. So there's a lot to check out if you're looking to get true purification of your water at home. The best part is the water actually
tastes amazing. And you can use this for your drinking water, for your coffee, for your tea, for your cooking. It's going to save on water bottles if you're someone who's been buying water bottles because you're afraid of tap water. And the filters are affordable and they're long lasting. So you're not changing these every, 2 months or so. The AquaTrue filters last from 6 months to 2 years. Since using AquaTrue, I honestly worry less for myself and my family. And that peace of mind is just, it's worth every penny to not have to have that worry. And AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Makes a great gift also. So if you're curious, you should check it out. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee. And today, our listeners can receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com. That's AQUATRU.com and enter the code OPL at checkout. And that's 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier. When you go to aquatrue.com, use that promo code OPL. Enjoy your water. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We often hear about red flags and things that we have to look out for in partners. We talk about red flags a lot on this show, but what if we could focus more on looking for green flags in friends and partners? If you're not sure what green flags you're looking for or what green flags are, therapy can help with that. Therapy can help you identify green flags, to actively practice them in your relationships, and to embody that green flag energy, okay? Because it's not just about avoiding the red flags, it's about seeking out the green flags, knowing the green flags that mean the most to you, for the people that you surround yourself with. Whether you're dating, married, building a friendship, or just working on yourself, it's time to form relationships that love you back. Therapy has helped me tremendously with so many relationships in my life, not just my marriage, but relationships with my parents, my siblings, friends, coworkers that I won't name. But seriously, there's so much for us to identify within the relationships in our lives, to help strengthen the relationships in our lives, and to know if certain relationships are even worth upholding, or is it sucking too much out of you? Is there too much negative energy? It's important to be able to identify these things and then know how to take action. So if you're looking to give therapy a try, definitely recommend BetterHelp. BetterHelp is fully online. It makes therapy affordable and convenient, and they currently serve over 5 million people worldwide. You get access to a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists that have a wide range of specialties, and you can easily switch therapists at any time for no additional cost. So discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/OPL today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/OPL. Get 10% off that first month. Now back to the show.
Yeah. Also, I guess I'm curious, this most recent time that happened like a week ago, just based on the conversation that we're currently having, clearly you're very sort of split, and it sounds like, you feel bad, but also, this is who you are. I'm curious as to what, like you said, there was a long dry spell there. What eventually kind of led you to the decision of I'm going to do this again, leading up to that, what were your feelings and why did you feel okay, I'm just going to go for it again?
To be honest, I'm looking for love is what I'm really looking for. And this person that I had met, things moved very quickly. Within 3 weeks, we were seeing each other probably 3 times out of the week. And so we got really close, and it just happened. He was a great guy.
You're saying was? Do you guys not speak anymore?
We're not. He is in a really bad place in life. And he said that he can't give me the level of attention that I am giving him currently. Mm-hmm. And he can't do all the stuff for me that I've been doing for him. Okay. And he just feels bad that he's not able to contribute. And so, we still talk, we're still buddies, but there's nothing physical between us anymore.
Right. And you said, you're looking for love ultimately. Would you if you found love, do you think that you would sort of lean further away from your faith in the pursuit of love?
I've often thought about that, and I can't believe this is coming out of my mouth, but if the right person came along, maybe.
Wow. Yeah, because on the flip side of that question, it's, because you said you're not attracted to women whatsoever. So are you then willing to go the rest of your life with no love, with no partner or no family of your own for your faith?
It's kind of like a trade-off, you know. I can leave my faith for someone that I've known for let's just say a year, and I say this is the person, right? Or do I stay single and have some happiness and keep my family who I've known for my whole life and my friends and my congregation and my faith? I have to weigh those things. And then what if it doesn't work between the person and I?
Sure.
Then what do I go back to? What do I go back to?
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, you described your upbringing as like very happy, no problems or anything like that. Do you believe that your family would not talk to you anymore if you decided to live a homosexual life?
So, they would talk to me, and I would still be allowed to go to our meetings, and I would be, greeted. There wouldn't be deep conversations, but I would be greeted, and the elders there would say hello and they'd provide encouragement. But when it comes to like parties or close friendships, things like that, contact is limited when it comes to that.
Okay.
And do you know that firsthand? Like, is there anybody in your experience that you've seen go through a similar process where they decided to, just come out as homosexual, and then you've seen the reaction to like, this person choosing to do that?
No, I have not. Mostly those who are, because of the feelings and the thoughts on that subject, mostly they don't. It's not talked about. It's not said.
This might be oversimplifying things, but is there a belief that you have that if you pursued love, if you met someone, settled down, and lived openly as a gay man, that you would not go to heaven?
So two things there. We don't believe everyone goes to heaven. But we don't believe that if you do wrong, you go to a fiery hell, though. We just believe you die and you go to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But those who openly practice it and are not sorry and do not change, we just believe that once you die, you stay dead. There's no hope of life everlasting in paradise. You're just gone forever.
Is that one of the considerations you have in making this decision?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's, there's other parts of it too, but missing out on eternal life on earth is, something I really don't want to miss out on.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
So I obviously don't expect you to have an answer here, but where do you go from here? Or obviously there's no answer that you have, but how do you process this? How do you move forward and try to find the path that is right for you?
I don't know, really. I have to make a decision, though. I can't just be stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make a decision regarding this. I can't just live a lie I can't live in hiding all my life. I have to decide what I'm going to do, and I don't know what to do.
Is it something you pray on? Like, do you turn to your faith to try to find answers for this? Or is that, I don't know, is that like counterproductive in a way because your faith is telling you don't act on this?
So it would kind of be, as you said, counterproductive to have a prayer to God and say, hey, I know what you say regarding this, but I really want to find love and do this. Can you tell me whether I should stop, practicing my faith and leave you, or stay and be unhappy, or stay and, try to be happy? God's not going to tell me, sure, you can leave. He's not going to tell me that. So I'm going to have to make that decision, and I'm going to have to own up to it when I make it and stick with it.
And do you think, are you attempting to make this decision soon and sort of in the circumstances you're in now, or do you think you would try to push it until you potentially meet someone? Because if there was someone that you were with currently, someone that you thought you were in love with or could be in love with, that might make the decision easier. But like you said, what if it doesn't work out with them? Or are you trying to kind of block out any noise and just find the path that you want to take now while you also don't have love?
I am waiting, and I'm biding my time. I'm waiting to see how situations turns out. And, things are always changing. Opportunities come up. Because as I, with my job and everything, it's all hooked in with my faith. Okay. And so if I make a decision, then it could affect my job, my life, where I live, everything. And so I need to make sure that when I make a decision, if I decide to stay or if I decide to leave, that I have backup and that I'm ready for whatever comes my way.
Mm-hmm. And this most recent time that it happened to, does anybody know about that, or you're just not at the point where you've told anyone?
So someone does know about it. One of my friends who aren't of my faith, I told.
Okay. Okay.
And so they know about it.
Do they have any advice for, what advice do they give when you are kind of describing your struggle to them?
So he is a gay Christian as well. It's not of my faith. And he's just been really trying to encourage me to do more meditation and thinking, and basically telling me if God didn't want me this way, he wouldn't make me this way. He didn't make a mistake. Yeah. So he believes that living a life, loving the ones you want to love, whether it's same sex or not, that you should be able to do that, and it's completely fine.
Wow. Well, we thank you for opening up to us about this, and especially since it's something that is so fresh and real for you, and it's just always so fascinating for us to hear. This is the weight of this decision and the situation. We can even feel the heaviness of it, as I'm sure you do. But we appreciate you being so honest and talking about the position you're in and the honesty about not knowing where you're going from here. It's, and we hope that you do truly find the answer that makes you happy, and is a sustainable one over time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And just to, echo what Greg is saying, I think that this is, a great conversation, because I think there's a lot of people who are probably dealing with the same exact thing. I mean, you're finding you have a friend who's a gay Christian who I'm sure went through a period of time where they really struggled with the same sort of thing. So hearing where you're at in this process, I think is going to be helpful for a lot of people who may be in the same sort of predicament. And, like Greg said, we really hope that you find what you're looking for, and whatever decision that you decide to make, that you're happy with that. But again, thank you so much for coming on, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You guys too.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye.
Bye.
So tough, man. I really sympathize with people who grew up very religious and feel like they are fighting themselves against this giant thing. Because when you're really religious, it feels like that's the entire world is based around, your entire world is based around that, and like those sets of rules and eternal life. And like, that is very scary to think about, like, oh, then I'm just going to be nothing. It's the
biggest stakes. If you believe and have faith like he does, it's the literal biggest stakes that you can have in life. But like he said, the feelings, these are his honest and true feelings since as long as he can remember. Hearing that, it makes me physically feel claustrophobic. Yeah. Because I don't know how he makes this decision. And there's no, you try to problem solve on a smaller scale, and it's like, what's the kind of happy medium, and how can we, finesse this? But it's not, it's like in his mind, and because of the rules of his religion, it's like, are you choosing a man you love, or are you choosing God, essentially? And all he knows up to this point is God. Like it's
tough too. I mean, imagine making a decision where it's like about anything. Like me and you are working on something, and you're like, it should be like this. And with everything, I'm like, I feel so differently. Yeah. Like it would be so hard to just submit to that over and over and over again every day of my life, to be like, I feel like this is wrong. We shouldn't do it this way or whatever. And that could be like anything, something at your job or whatever the case is. Imagine, but then it's like ingrained in you, like but I can't fight this thing. This is how I feel. Like making that decision every single day, like that is insanely tough. Like that's how, and I mean, I thought it was interesting what his Christian friend said, like, because there is that thing in religion, like God doesn't make mistakes. So like if he made me this way, it's not like a disease or some fucking shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm built this way. It's been,
And it's different. And I guess different sects are different. And like, we had a conversation on the show with someone who was Mormon, who was gay, who went through gay conversion therapy within the Mormon church, and ultimately was able to come to a place and say, I am a gay man, and I'm going to live openly as a gay man. I have to, but I'm going to have my faith, and I'm going to essentially reshape my faith in the way that fits for me. But that's not, for him, that's not really an option. And it's that it won't work that way. There is no way out for him like that. I mean, maybe there is, but at this point it seems like, that's not the case.
He's fresh off of, in his eyes, a big sin. So, I mean, I maybe that is the case, but I mean, I am sympathetic to that, to anyone who's very religious and feels like it's wrong to be homosexual, but you can't really like fight that. You can't kind of like get rid of it. You kind of have to like live a lie in a sense, just be like, well, that's not happening. Like it's not, you don't do whatever that is, the conversion shock therapy, and you're no longer gay. Like, it's just not going to happen that way.
It's nice to hear that Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in the effects of that. I also knew nothing about Jehovah's Witnesses either.
Still
so that's interesting.
To be honest, but
that's fair. But I think, a lot of people too, hearing this episode, will probably just rail against the institution of religion as a whole. And like it, but
it's less about that though. It's not about that. It's about sympathizing with someone who grew up and like, this is all I know.
Well, that's the thing. It's easy to say that.
Yeah.
But in his position, exactly, like you are, and people will also say, well, he's conditioned, he's brainwashed, it's fate, whatever. That's your belief, but this is his belief, and these are his very true beliefs.
Not only that, but even if you're right, even if you're like this is stupid, religion is dumb, like just live your life, whatever. Even if that's correct, that doesn't change the fact that like this is all I know. This is all I've been brought up to know. So like,
and the great values that come with it, like he said, I like who I am as a person, and the community and the values, and his job is tied to it, and everything he does. It's not as simple as telling someone abandon religion, or be spiritual in a different way, and be gay and happy, and that's way easier said than done. So this is
it's a tough one.
This is a predicament of all predicaments.
I hope everything works out for him, and he lives a happy life, whatever that means. But
yeah, I don't think I just if he can make a choice and truly can stand by that choice and is happy, and who knows what will develop over time. I just hope he ends up happy.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's all we're looking for here. But for anyone out there that would like to be a guest on our show, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our email is oplpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your story, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, if TikTok is still a thing by the time this comes out, at OPL Podcast. You could support the show on Patreon at OPL Show, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.